Okay, guys, this is gonna be my Undertaker Last Ride review, chapter 1 all the way to chapter 5, the whole thing. Um, yeah, I am a longtime fan of The Undertaker. Shawn Michaels is my favorite, but Undertaker is up there. And obviously, he's been there from the beginning, you know, from my recollection, like being a kid. I think his debut was when he was Survivor Series. I don't know, it was Luger team or something had that team that they were gonna have the Undertaker, and he walked out and then he opened his trench coat and had the American flag, and he said "Rest in peace," and everybody went crazy, and that's what I remember. I think that's at the debut as well, and obviously he was like real scary to people. He putting people in body bags. Yeah, played the gimmick. He's walking really slow, but then he'll start going really fast, and you're like, man, this big dude can move. But yeah, at the documentary, it was just like, you know, I didn't really get back to wrestling. I kind of fell off a little bit, then I kind of got back into wrestling when I started to find out there was like the Chris Jericho podcast and a Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast. The one, not the WWE one, but the one where he would do independently, I guess. And remember that? And he would have like a Tuesday and Thursday, a family-friendly one, where he'd be like, cluster muck and stuff like that. So it was really fascinating, obviously, because I started really getting into like the behind the scenes and knowing what it's about and what a shoot interview is and all this and that. So Jericho, he's they're pretty cool because Jericho had a podcast and he was getting wrestlers and other people too as well, and you're starting to hear shoot interviews and I was really fascinated and into it. I was like, oh man, I didn't know really what a work was or babyface or heel, but now I was like, oh wow, they're I guess exposing the business, I guess, in that aspect. Or I mean, shoot, it was like 2015 already, so I'm like, all right, it makes sense. But a long story short, I went through every single one I could find that I liked, all the wrestlers, managers. I just wanted to hear their take, and then the Bruce Pritchard, something to wrestle with. I started getting into that a little bit, and that helped. But two people actually, I really wanted badly, and that's like they'll never go on this, was The Rock, which obviously I don't know if he'll ever go on like a normal small podcast to talk about wrestling, or if he even really cares. And the other one was The Undertaker. The Undertaker was like always in kayfabe. Obviously, we knew that, and I was like, he's got some stories. I mean, he should do his own podcast. And they kind of allude to that as Starcast, kind of. But I was like, man, think of all the stories. You hear so much about The Undertaker being a locker leader, from all these other shoot interviews. And he being someone like, they can talk much, but he always observing. But anyways, so I definitely loved the Last Ride documentary. I mean, I know WWE produced, because I've seen another one. We all seen another one when he was, the American Biker. See what I did there? American Biker, and he did an interview before, and and he's like, well, this is the only time I can really talk on this interview. I don't know who it was with, but it was like on a TV show or something, or a newscast, and he did talk a little bit. Remember that? And talk about like Shawn Michaels. Hopefully he dug the job at WrestleMania. Was it 14? The one with Stone Cold won, and Mike Tyson was involved. And the interviewer asked him, what was that about? Shawn Michaels, were you gonna do something to him? And obviously Undertaker was saying, well, make sure Shawn would do the job, or he would have to deal with me. But that's the only other interview besides like finally like 2 years ago when we thought he retired, when Roman Reigns retired him, I guess. And then you started seeing the Mark Calloway big time. I mean, remember that he did the he's listening to George Strait or something, and he's talking about, oh, this is my favorite, you know, song, and he's talking all normal, and you're like, man, this is weird. He doesn't have an accent. He talks like a Texan, and then he started doing the one with the Christian pastor, Ed Young, and that was really eye-opening. Like, oh man, he's just like really able to talk, and they talk about the business. He's not really obviously filtered, but at least he's talking. And I think he did the 30 for 30 with Ric Flair. So we started seeing little seeds of that. All right, Mark Calloway, and he's in Instagram and all that, and Twitter. But finally, so we do get the documentary, and we can still do it. I like it a lot. I mean, I hope he does more and more independent ones, and they hopefully they have like DVD sets too, like they have with Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart and Scott Hall, and so everybody has a DVD set. And so this one was pretty good. This is to chapter 1, was him and Brock when he lost his streak. And yeah, I guess nobody knew he really was concussed even before the match or during the match or whatever. He don't remember that whole thing. So that was kind of crazy. But I mean, you expect that with Undertaker, who's been wrestling for so long. We heard the stories of his earlier years, his wrestling. He went out with broken ribs, just taped it up, broken face. That's why he had that Phantom of the Opera match. So it was expected. But I didn't know it was concussed. And Brock went with them to the emergency room, and McMahon actually left WrestleMania. So that was cool, and to see Michelle Cool. Oh yeah, before that, remember that his ex-wife, one of the ex-wives was involved too, like Sarah, whatever, and she's like climbing that cage and stuff. So that was kind of, you got a little bit of insight in The Undertaker. But Dick definitely, you got insight in his marriage. And the pastoral one as well, it shows how Michelle McCool got him to go to church and stuff, and I guess he became a Christian, and so that was pretty cool too. But back to chapter 1. Yeah, I mean, basically he said his old age and having a concussion, that he couldn't remember anything, and still couldn't remember going through the tapes. Chapter 2 was pretty cool. We'll talk a little bit about Michelle McCool and how they met, and a little bit about their kid, I believe. I don't remember too much in chapter 2, but I just remember that it's mostly about talking about her. No, I think they had a little bit of the Roman, how he was upset with having that match, and wish that he could get a better match with Roman. Yeah, and he thought that was the retirement, and obviously he had to redeem himself. A long going thread in this: redeem yourself, and then have a bad match and redeem yourself again. So that was pretty cool. Chapter 3 was really good because obviously I'm a big fan of Shawn Michaels, DX. That funny crown jewel match. Yeah, I mean, I think that was the one where he was just like, I had some issues at home. Yeah, and they thought they were just gonna be able to wing it, I guess. But I mean, you look at it on paper, you say, oh wow, this is a great match. But then you say, well, Kane's the mayor, and he's, I don't know, he's in 40s or 50s. Undertaker's in his 50s, and he's been beaten up. Triple H really wrestled once a year, and he didn't really have that great matches. Then you got Shawn Michaels, who's like wrestling for 8 years, but you know that Shawn Michaels, he'll do what he can, and he's really good. So he hasn't done it in a while, but still, we've seen him in full perform. But yeah, it was just a big, as Stone Cold would say, cluster muck. That took the Undertaker down, himself dialed again, and they really talk about Vince McMahon and his relationship. Like they're like blood brothers basically. They'll do anything for each other. And Triple H was a well-respected friend as well. They didn't really, they're not best friends or anything, but they had that respect. Chapter 4 was the Goldberg match. man, that was really, really bad. And I knew Undertaker, he wasn't caring about Goldberg, but that gave him an eye opener of he was like what 2 inches away from being paralyzed or dead. And that's when you started to see more doubt again. He goes, "How's your bad match?" And he says, maybe it was me. Maybe I just can't do this no more. And Michelle McCool finally says, this is the one where he knew he was hurt because he didn't text back, or he did, or he said, "Yeah, my back's hurting." And it was cool seeing all the surgeries and stuff and talking to the doctors. Just being Mark Calloway basically. And if you go to chapter 5, which I know, but I kind of had a hinting that he was going to retire. I saw him on the ESPN talking about, the screw job and all that. But, he didn't say retire, but he definitely said no more in-ring stuff. Maybe, and he always says that in case of emergency, break glass. We say that all the time with Vince. And so he's like, "Yeah, I had enough. I got to think about my family. I'm good." No, yeah, he had that Extreme Rules match, and I guess he looked pretty good, which I remember. It looked pretty good. Oh, they did talk about the John Cena one when they were training and stuff. That was pretty cool as well. But it was a short match, obviously. That's not the one he wanted to go off on. But Extreme Rules, again, he just pulled back. He said, "Well, I'm done." Vince said, "Well, let's talk about it." So that was crazy. And then he said, "Well, what can we do? We're chasing the dragon. Which one would be the dragon?" And we get to AJ Styles. And yeah, I guess he would be a good opponent. I don't know how good the match would be. I mean, you can let it go for a while, but I don't know how much, it'd be a 5-star match or anything. But obviously circumstances made them have a boneyard match, and that was really cool. I guess that was the best way to go out. I mean, cinematically, my kids enjoyed it. Even people that didn't really like wrestling, they liked it. It was cool. I mean, he got to literally ride off the sunset. And finally, hopefully he won the last match, and it was with AJ Styles. And hopefully that's it. Hopefully he has like a real retirement, Hall of Fame, all that stuff, I guess. Circumstances are different, so it's a little bit different. But overall, I enjoyed it. I mean, I hope there's more. I hope he does more. I don't know how more candid he'll be in different podcasts. I mean, I guess supposedly signed a 15-year contract because he almost did that start. That one podcast that was kind of associated with AEW, I guess, Starcast or whatever. But I want to hear more stories. More pictures of the BSK, all that stuff behind the scenes. Yeah, I love that stuff, especially coming from the Undertaker. Finally, I mean, I knew it was going to happen, I guess, but I thought maybe he was retired and never do it. He was just retired, stay kayfabe, and then he kind of live a quiet life. But I'm glad I kind of got a little bit what I wanted, as an interview and having actually hear the Undertaker talk or Mark Calloway. So it was good. I mean, it's kind of weird. I wish it was longer, but because obviously he has a lot of history. It just wasn't that those last 2 years of his life. I mean, you're talking from the beginning. Being the Eggman, wants to be the Eggman, McMahon calling him the Undertaker and all that stuff. So I hope they do more stuff, more DVDs, more interviews with him. And he's got a lot of stories. And I like the way at least in this documentary, the way they let him talk freely as much as he can. And I would recommend it to anyone who, loves the behind the scenes stuff, especially if WWE, Undertaker's finally speaking out, kind of, I guess that's the wrong word, finally doing interviews. They probably really enjoyed it. But talk about a review of The Undertaker, The Last Ride. and hopefully we'll have more. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.